Hi guys, welcome back to Crafty Quilting Designs. I hope you're well and having a really great day. It's Saturday morning here in London again, and the week comes around very quickly, doesn't it? It always seemed like just yesterday that I posted up that Christmas video for the Scrappy quilt, and now it's just another day again to do it. So I hope everyone's had a really successful, safe week, and everybody's just doing really great. You know, it's coming up to that end of the year where we will put all those unnecessary pressure on ourselves to make sure everything is just perfect. So don't do that to yourself, okay? Just appreciate every day for what it is. So it's another time for me to show you some love and share with you what I have been working on this week. So I have made a Bedrunner. It's a scrappy one yet again, and I've used a jewel pattern for this one. It's really lovely. It came together very quickly because it's not a whole quilt in a sense, isn't it? It's a Bedrunner, so it has come together very quickly. I also felt it needed something else, and so trying to get rid of all of these Christmas scraps, I decided was to do some pillows, some Christmas pillows for them. And so that really surprised me. That looked really beautiful with it. So I'll take you through how I actually made it. This was a really quick project as well. It took me probably about another hour and a half, 45 minutes, something around in that manner, but it wasn't a long, lengthy process. My objective here is to make really quick, beautiful projects that I can give as gifts. Obviously it's my Christmas gift along, so that's the objective here, so that it doesn't take too much time, but yet it yields something really beautiful, you know, that the receiver can appreciate. So with that being said, let me take you through how I make it. And before I go, the usual, don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course hit that notification bell and give it a thumbs up, and I guess I'll see you next week. Okay, so guys, so to make the quilt, we need a few of scraps again. So as you know, I'm trying to get rid of all these scraps. And it's going to be another Christmas quilt. Now, this time we're going to do a dual Christmas quilt, a Christmas scrap quilt, I should say, just to make sure I make that clear. And we're going to do some half square triangles and some 4 patches. And that's simply our cut. So it is not going to be a lot of cuts at all. So I have some spare fabric here, and when I say spare, I literally mean just bits of leftover from my fat quarters. And all I have done, I have mixed a couple of them. So all I have done is made 2 at a time half square triangles, and as you can see, I chain pieced to actually make sure that the process went by very quickly. All right, and I then trim them down or cut it in half to make my half square triangles. Now I'm not going to go through how to make a half square triangles because I think I've made a ton of this already, knowing how to make the triangles. There's going to be a pattern, so don't worry about the sizes. I'm not going to mention that because I do find that if I have to recall the measurements in my head, it does take a little bit longer for my explanation. And usually I make the quilts, or I design it as I am actually talking to you, and I'm writing it as I go. So there will be a pattern, all right? But we're starting with these squares, and then we're going to make some, as I said, 2 at a time half square triangles, and that's the method we're using. And of course it's scraps. Now you can use ordinary fabrics, you do not need to use Christmas fabrics. To be honest, I do have a little bit of spare ordinary fabrics here as well to add into it. Okay, but I'm moving through the Christmas fabric first to ensure I get rid of all of them as it's the season to be jolly. Right, so you will then obviously make your chain piecing for your half square triangles. Okay, and I am going with red and white for my half square triangles, and I'm using white as my background fabric. Then you obviously need some 4 patch, and again you're going to see the same fabrics repeated because it is my scraps I'm literally using up, and you'll make your 4 patch. Now what I have done, again, white is my background, so I have cut a 2.5 long strip, probably about 44 inches in width, well, the length of a normal fabric. Okay, and all I have done is whatever leftover strips of fabric, as you can see, that's not a Christmas one. I've cut those into 2.5. This one you would recognize from just this week's quilt that just went by, or I should say over the weekend. So all I've done is cut them into 2.5, and I've simply just pinned onto the background fabric. All right, and all I'm going to do now is to do a 1/4 inch along there all the way down. I'm just going to spread this out so hopefully you can get my idea of what I'm referring to. It's literally it. All right, so I've separated them so I can clearly see where the other one starts. I've also done this one as well. It's got a little bit more in this. I mean, even whatever scraps, I've found these 2.5 inch squares, and I've attached them there. So I'm literally just going to get a pin and pin them on there, and as I said, do a 1/4 inch seam all the way down right to the top as you would normally. Okay, now this again speeds up the process of making your 4 patches. So once I have done that, all I'm going to do basically is just measure then on my board 2.5 and just cut. Okay, so 2.5 cut, 2.5 cut. When I get to this area here, what I'm going to do then is then start fresh, because I've got that gap there, and then get a fresh 2.5 and cut and continue all the way down until I use the strip. Okay, again, the pattern will tell you how much of the 4 patch you need to make. So once I have got all of my squares together, what I have been doing is putting them into piles of which the color came out of. All right, so for example, if I cut this here, obviously I'm going to have red, and I'm going to have my background of white. Okay, again, you will recognize these fabrics because, you know, I think this is the last bit of this particular one, the last piece. So that's it basically, and then all you'll need to do is to then go on the sewing machine and do yet again some chain piecing, and then you sew it like so, and then you have your 4 patch. And again, it doesn't take long at all to compile, to put it together, and then once you've done that, you've got all of your 4 patches there. Quite quick and really simplistic. Okay, the next step is that to make sure that all of your half square triangles, as usual, is the same size as of your 4 patch. That's always a secret when it comes to these things, making all of your squares the same size. All right, and again, the pattern will tell you what size they are, but you need to make sure they're all the same size. And literally, that is your block formation squares form there. All right, so we're going to make a dual block. Okay, and so there's lots of several variations for the dual block, but we'll go through a few of them so you have some ideas in case you don't want to lay it out the way in which I formatted mine. All right, so that's simply it. So those are the things you need to get together. So a very quick method to making your 4 patch, as well as your 2 at a time half square triangles. The objective here is smart cutting and chain piecing to get through it quite quickly. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to clear all of this mess away, and then we're going to do some layout so that you can have an idea of how you want to lay your quilt out. So let's go do that now. Okay, so I'm going to show you how the layout is for the quilt for the Bedrunner. So there are several layouts you can do with this, but I'm just going to show you about 3, and you can play around with it and see how much you get. All right, so I'm going to start with the half square triangles, and hopefully you can see the layout. I'm going to start about there. So I'm going to put 4 patch in the middle there. I'm going to go there, make it a little bit higher so I have enough room. Next one there, and the other one. Now I'm using the colored squares in the middle first. Okay, and that is literally it. So I'm just going to continue with the next one again, keeping the background fabric Make sure I get that correct before I go explaining. Keeping the colored, all the colors coming together in the middle. Right, so I'm going to do that again here, making sure all the colors come together in the middle, and choosing another color to meet in the middle, and then you can alternate. So I'm not going to worry about where they drop at the moment. So what I mean by that, I'm not going to worry about whether or not the colored, the 2.5 squares actually fall into not the same color next to each other. I'm not so much going to worry about that. After I've done the layout, then I would more or less change things about. So just be mindful of how you're doing it. Just pay attention, because it can get really tricky. So hopefully you see something appearing there. All right, and I'm going to continue again. So that's 1, 2, 3 blocks. I'm just doing 3 rows. I'm going to continue again, making sure that I have the center. I have 2 different colors here in terms of the red with the pattern. I'm not really bothered about that. Again, just doing as it comes about in my head, really. So I'm going to start with that one there, that one going there. I'm going to use a different one, put that in the middle there, get another square, turn all of the actual prints. Now I'm going to change this round because that's a similar print as the half square triangle. Get another one, put that there, making sure the half square triangle printed fabric goes in the middle. Again, that goes there. And some of my fabrics are repeated, but again, it is a scrappy Bedrunner, so I'm not too worried about that. That's the whole objective of a scrappy quilt, that you will get repeated fabrics. Again, that's going to go there, and this one goes there. Right, so I'm going to continue this, and then I'll show you the outcome. And this is what it looks like. Okay guys, so this is what it looks like. So that's the pattern there for the first one. I'm going to do about 3, and hopefully you can make them out. So for this, the first one, all of the red triangles are actually facing into each other, and all of the 2.5 squares are actually facing each other as well. So they make that sort of pattern there. Alright, so I'm going to separate and point it out for you. So those are your blocks right there with your half square, and that is your 4 block right there, and it's just simply repeated all the way out. That's the first layout for our Bedrunner. Let's do another one again now, okay, and I'm going to point it all out for you again. And this is the second layout, and hopefully you can see the difference. So again, I'm going to point out the block for you. And there it is. That is literally the block there, where all of the white meets in the middle. The first layout was all of the colors met in the middle. So it looked like this. And again, I'm going to change the layout in terms of if the colors meet. Like, for example, what I mean is like something like this, which is not, again, not an issue, to be honest. So that is what the first layout looked like. However, I have changed it to this one here, where all the white meets in the middle. And again, that looks fine too. You could even mix it, as I have done there, with this one, and that will give, so you can do every other turned. So if you start with the reds in the middle, then the white, and then return the last one to the end there. So then all the colors meet in the middle yet again. And again, you can play about with it as how much you see fit. Right, and you'll get a different pattern every time. Now, the Bedrunner is going to have 2 or 3 borders, not completely sure yet, and I haven't decided which layout I want to go with. All right, you can even turn one in and leave one out, like so, and then have all the colors meet again in the middle. But it's entirely down to you, whatever layout you choose. I'm sure whatever layout you do choose is going to look really beautiful. But I think I'm going to choose the first layout. Oh no, I think I like this one. So I think I'll have all of my reds. No, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll choose this one. I do like the fact that the red ends at the end there. So I'll have the whites in the middle. Yes, I will do that, and I'll tell you why. My brain just sussed it. I'm going to have the white in the middle because then I can do a feather pattern there. Yeah, I could even, if I wanted, let the colors meet there, and I think I will possibly do that. I'll possibly do that. I think this is the layout I will go for, and that layout is the 2 triangles meet in the middle with that color stream there, and a half square triangle reds at the end. So this is my layout for my blocks. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to do that now, lay it all out, sew it together, and then we will come back and have a little discussion about the borders. But I think it's coming together really nicely. It's a beautiful scrappy Bedrunner jewel quilt, and so far it's coming to, it looks really good. I love the colors. It's very colorful because the red really stands out. And again, these are just scraps. I think I had probably 1 fat quarter and a half left over of this one here, and all of these obviously are just literally scraps that I've used, and of course the background color of white. All right, so let me go get that sorted, and I shall come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, so before I stitch the whole block together, I just wanted to point out a few things. Just ensure that your points meet in the middle there, and so line it up at the back so that it meets quite easily, and pin. Okay, also your blocks need to be trimmed, and I have trimmed most of mine, so I've just got this last 3 to trim, and you literally is trimming, it's just shavings you're taking off. So we're not cutting it down to size, we're just trimming it to make sure the blocks, all the blocks are the same size. All right, and again, you will have all the details in the description box down below for a pattern, so not to worry about what it is I'm trimming it up to at the moment. Make sure that diagonal line runs right through in the middle where those 2 half square triangles meet, as well as these 2.5 inches square meet as well, and then you just simply trim. So make sure your mark is measured up there and down there as well, and just trim it off, whatever the extra trimmings are. So once I've completed, I'm going to lay it out in the orientation that I decided that I wanted, and then I'm going to stitch it all together and decide on which of my type of borders. I'm going to put a floating border first, just in between all the blocks together, so a small floating border in between, and then after that I'll just put a normal border in. Just going to trim this last bit off there. So that's that. So again, make sure all the blocks are the same size, and I've done quite a lot here already, and again the pattern will give you all the details that's necessary so that you know how much blocks you actually need. Okay, so I'm going to get that completed, and then I shall show you the next stage. So let's go on. So I've stitched it all together to make the quilt top itself, and you can see the layout that I've actually chosen. I'm using a pieced border at my end border because I haven't bordered the whole quilt top. Right, so I've done the same at the other end down there. But this is what I have done. So I've added 2 borders there, 2 strip borders, and I've pieced the border here So I added 3 end borders plus a large border at the end to make up the Bedrunner. Now you can do this if you please, or you can just simply make a further piece border. I am not going to add a border around it. I have been contemplating whether or not I should do so, because I am just trying out this particular border here. But I think I will just leave it as it is, to be honest, and just simply leave it as is without a final border around it. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I do like it like this. It is a scrappy quilt. It's a jewel scrappy quilt, Christmas scrappy quilt. So that's the cool pattern really, and I just really again wanted to use up all of my fabrics in a nice way to make the quilt come together nicely. So this is where I'm at. I am going to baste it now. I think I'm happy. I don't think I'm going to add on the strip border here. I did contemplate, as I said, adding on this white border all the way around the quilt to finish it off, but I think I'll leave it like that. I am going to use this fabric here for my binding, so I think that will help frame the quilt itself. So I'm going to stop there, otherwise I'll keep going. It is a fun project. It's very quick. It doesn't take long, and I know I say that, but when I say that, I'm telling you the truth, because obviously I work. So I always try to make things that is in line with my evening and what I can get done quickly or within a day. So really, most of your work is within making these four blocks here, and these are your blocks that you will arrange in the layout that you want. What I did notice is after I stitched my 4 blocks together, you can continue to get more and more and more actual patterns, but as you know, I have settled with this one. So this is really where the labor comes in. It comes in very quickly. To make half square triangles does not take long, and obviously I did a strip technique to make my 4 patch again, which comes together very quickly. So all in all, I would probably say an hour and a half to get it going to make the actual Bedrunner. Not long at all. So it looks really beautiful. I love it. I actually like the big border at the end because this is obviously going to hang at the side of the bed, and you're really going to have this end here plus the other end down here with a bit of this hanging on the bed, so that it really shows that sort of variation of colors. But I'm loving it. It looks good. So one thing I love about quilting, which really surprised me every time, is the fact that once it's quilted, something magical happens. The quilting just changes it. You know, it's just that I don't know, it's just really magical. The quilting is just takes it another level, and it really complements it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the quilting is going to look like. The only thing I've thought about is actually elongating some feathers and swirls there, but I'm not sure what I'll do in the others. But that's my plan. But anyway, guys, let me get this quilted and show you what the end result looks like. Hey guys, so I have basted the quilt, and I just wanted to jump in and just let you know what I started doing. So I still have lots of little scraps of Christmas fabric left, and I thought that I can make a scrappy pillow, in fact to actually go along with the Bedrunner. So I just wanted to share with you what I was actually doing, and you can see all the mess that I've actually made for myself. So let me show you. So this is what I have actually started with here, and they are just simply bits that I've laid out, okay, and I've started sewing this alongside here together as well. It's mainly a lot of white stones, what I'm beginning to realize. I think I've chosen a bit too much whites there, but nevertheless I will add more colors around it. But this is all my mess here. So all I'm doing literally is taking bits of scraps. I'm sure you've done this before, but I just wanted to share this with you. because I'm planning to present the pillows, the scrappy pillows, with this the Bedrunner. I thought they'll go nicely together. So that is what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm going to get this all together and then show you what it looks like. I mean, there's still not large pieces of fabric that I can actually use. You know, things like these ones here, of course this, you know, even this here, a lovely strip here that I can use. Look at that. So it's a bit of a waste to just leave them there, really. There's still quite a lot to use there. Even this piece there, look at that. So yeah, that will go nicely actually. I think I'll probably pop that in there. Look at that already. That has added on there really nicely. So yeah, I could put that on there. Probably turn it in that way, trim it off. That looks lovely there. And just literally play around with it and see what I get. So I'm just laying them out and then I'm going to stitch them together however I've laid them out. I mean, scraps, putting something together from scraps can be really creative. So that's what I'm doing. So any bits that flop in, I'm not so much worried about color really. And when I say that, I mean just too much colors, because the white stands out and then the white allows it to be blended in. So I'm going to continue with my mess that I've made here for myself and then do as much as I possibly can. I'm going to go as big as I possibly can because I'm looking for at least a 16-inch, 17-inch square pillows. And then obviously I will then trim down to whatever size I need. But this is where I've gotten to so far. And then once I've done that, I will show you what it looks like. I am going to quilt them also. But yeah, all the mess that I've created. So I'm having fun doing that actually. It's really nice putting something together scrappy without having to worry about whether it goes or not, because you know it will, if that makes sense. All right guys, so let me finish with this and I'll share with you what it looks like. Look at my scraps again. Oh my lord. Mess. Okay guys, so this is what the completed look comes together as. You can see the jewel design there. And I'm going to go in a little bit closer so you can have a look at it all together, completed. Absolutely beautiful. Looks really, really lovely. As you can see, I didn't do any fussful quilting. I kept it very simplistic because of the time scale. But it has come together very beautifully. I love the actual pattern, the jewel pattern, and this one that I've actually selected. And if you've forgotten where the block is, let me point it out to you. So this is the block here. Okay, and obviously once you lay it out in the formation that you want, this is what you get. And as you can see, I added just some squares at the bottom there, and again everything will be in the pattern for you, so you'll have all of the lengths and sizes, etc. And I just finish it off with a little bit of yardage. And again guys, this is all scraps that I used to make this beautiful Bedrunner. Absolutely gorgeous. And again, I use up a lot of scraps to do the cushions, the pillows, and these have come together really nicely also. And again, this is the half square triangles that we use, and you can see the 4 patch there as well, and I've just changed it around to make it look like a house, because when I did that one without really thinking what I was doing, I was actually creating a house. But I decided was to use up what was left over, because you will have this left over as well from the quilt. So I used it up as well within there to make the pillows. But it has come together really nicely. Very, very beautiful. On the back, I just use plain fabric. And one of the good things is that you can actually see all of the quilting. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Really, really beautiful. And again, not even a Christmas fabric at the back, so really complements the look. And you can use it on either side, to be honest, because as I'm sure you can notice on my bed here, it's just quilting lines here on my bed in patterns of leaves, and that looks really lovely on its own without even adding any blocks to it. So again, everything really looks nicely. I'm really happy with the outcome of the scrappy look. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the jewel block. Very, very pleased with it. So guys, if you enjoyed this tutorial, please don't forget, as usual, to give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think. Absolutely beautiful project, very easy, and I'm really loving the cushions. The pillows have come together really nicely and very simplistic to do. Again, very easy, quick project. So guys, happy quilting, bye for now, and I'll see you next time on Crafty Quilting Designs.